We have an iPhone 15 here with the new Type-C connector. We got a bunch of Type-C dongles, and we got a Diana MR. We're starting out with the $9 Apple dongle, and we're going all the way up to the $500 Woo tube-based DAC amp dongle. For a music service, we're going to be using Apple Music, and it'll be the lossless version. We're starting off on an iPhone 14 actually with the Lightning Apple dongle. We don't have a Type-C one just yet. It actually sounds pretty good. It's a little portable sounding, a little anemic, but not bad. It's actually got some sub bass. I definitely like a little bit more, a little more oomph wouldn't be a bad deal. But in a quiet environment for this being $9 or whatever, yeah, it's fine. Sounds pretty good. It's not really a world-class listening experience, but it's pretty great.
Yeah, you can hear the sub bass, but it doesn't have impact,
Yep.
It's there, but leaves you wanting. Yeah, overall, sounds fine. Sounds pretty much like any normal phone or laptop would, you would think, so no big surprise there, huh?
Type-C connector, I'm like, this isn't gonna
I
fit.
know. I had this.
The light's on.
Yeah? Oh, you could put that in there and just be like, well, this one doesn't work. It worked on the iPad though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's news. We don't even need to do it then.
Why does it not work? The light comes on.
Yeah. Huh.
Then we got the IFI GoLink dongle. It's rated at 70 milliwatts, so it's a little light on power. Not expecting it to play all that loud, but let's see how it goes. Yeah, it sounds pretty good. I think it's a little bit of a step up from the stock Apple dongle. Not a ton, and it's a little bulkier, and it's a fair bit more expensive, but it's definitely better.
It's a little bit better. It doesn't really play any louder, doesn't seem, but it's got a little more punch to it.
This one sounds pretty good. It's a little aggressive sounding, a little harsh at times. Plays loud, pretty good resolution and detail though, so I guess it kind of depends on the music you listen to, but not a bad choice.
Yeah, it is more of a full bass, but yeah, kind of a harsh top end, so it would depend on what you're listening to.
This thing cranks. Sounds pretty good. A little bit smoother than the last one.
The bass isn't as full as the other one, the last one. And yeah, it's a little smoother up top, so similar yet different,
Oh my God. Well, this thing is incredibly harsh and sharp. Not particularly positive attributes, but it plays really loud. It also just kind of sounds distorted when you crank it.
Yeah, it's definitely got a lot of gain. It kind of sounds like what if you took the Apple dongle and you just pushed it as hard as it would go somehow and made it play louder.
Right, it's just loud. It's not good.
Yeah.
This one's pretty interesting. It looks pretty cool, and it seems to have a good blend of all the different attributes. It's not exceptional at any of them though, so.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It kind of sounds like if you took these two and then merged them together to make this.
This thing's got a lot of bass punch, but unfortunately the difference between low gain and high gain seems to be just the gain, and it just starts clipping, at least on this impedance. On high gain it gets real nasty.
Yeah, it's the smoothest out of all of them so far, but yeah, at high volumes it just kind of falls apart.
Now we're really moving in the premium. Now this thing's $500, but looks pretty cool. It's got tubes in it, right? Let's see if it's better than the other ones. Let's see if it's worth the numbers. This one sounds really nice. It's a nice all-around package. It's got a good warmth to it. It's pretty neutral tonally. Reasonable detail. There's nothing exaggerated or whatever. It doesn't get too harsh or sharp or whatever. I think it's tuned quite well. Unfortunately, the tubes do seem to add a little nature of their own. If you tap it, you could hear it. And sometimes you could hear a little noise from the cellular services. If you turn it off, that goes away. It's fairly minor, but something to be aware of.
It sounds like a tube amp more or less compared to the rest of them. It's most different, I'd say. It's just smoother across the whole spectrum and still solid bass.
This is sort of the ranking, right? And lowest to highest. Few things to explain here. So this is kind of like the baseline. This honestly isn't bad. I know people like attacking it, but it's it sounds pretty good. And now the power isn't even really an issue anymore. On MR, it drives them pretty damn well.
Decent.
Yeah, if you're on a really loud environment, maybe this wouldn't be the go-to.
Yeah.
And it obviously, at the price, it doesn't make a ton of sense that you can't afford anything better. But if this is what you had, it works fine. It sounds pretty good.
I mean, just get you by in the meantime.
Absolutely.
You could get something else.
Yeah.
It'll work.
And now this one, way better than the specs would indicate, right? pretty good. It basically sounds like a juiced up Apple dongle.
Yeah, pretty much.
Very similar sound, pretty neutral. Nothing's too standout. Nothing offensive. You know, it sounds okay. So not bad, but at the price, I think there's probably better options because these are oddly enough, well, other than this one, these are pretty similar pricing. So I probably wouldn't get this one just for that because it's only single-ended. I don't really like the design myself. I like the removable cables, but obviously it depends on what you're going for. Sonically, pretty good.
Better than expected.
Yeah. And now the feel. It was a standout and not for a good reason.
Yeah, well, I thought this one was going to be way better than that, but.
Right. It sounds so grungy and distorted. Could be the impedance we're driving. I don't know. I haven't tried another headphone. It's 32 ohms, so it's a pretty typical impedance. I would think it would be able to drive it.
Yeah.
They say it's got good power. I don't know.
Yeah, essentially their roles were reversed in what I thought it was going to be.
Oddly enough.
Yeah.
Now this one, interesting. It's got a little bit of a clinical, analytical kind of sound to it at times. It depends on what you're listening to, right? So that could be offensive to some, but it's got a real oomphy, powerful sound to it too.
Probably
right?
one of the most, yeah.
Yeah,
all of them.
Definitely a very, very powerful sound, among the most. All around, pretty nice unit.
Plays loud.
Yep, it's sort of up to what you want to pick at that point. And now this little car, cyber truck shape thing.
Yeah.
Obviously very unique styling on it, right? Pretty cool.
I think it looks the best out of the little dongles, and it's well built, and non-offensive.
I like that there's no buttons on it, so it depends on what you're doing. You can't just bump into buttons if it's in your pocket or whatever. So as a simple thing, you just want to plug in and have it go and have pretty good sound. Cool option. This Quest style here, I was a little surprised by it. Both good and bad. Sounds really nice if the volume is middle of the range, right? You start cranking it, you could tell it's straining.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a powerful sound to it, but it's such a nice, warm, gentle sound to it when you're at a reasonable listening volume.
Yeah, across the whole board, really. Bass to the top end, it's just...
Everywhere, yeah. So tuned really nice. It'd be a little nicer to see more power on it. It could even be the phone that you're driving it off or something. I'm not sure. But compared to these, this definitely had a little bit more of a weak sound to it, and especially when you crank the gain, it just starts getting distorted. Now this one, I really like this one. I like the design. It's got a low gain, high gain. Doesn't get heavily distorted on high gain. Plays so loud. Got a pretty powerful sound to it. Pretty nice and smooth. It's not a standout in positive attributes, really, in any sense.
Yeah, it kind of splits the difference between these two, I'd say, and the bass.
Right, but it doesn't do anything wrong. So for the price of this thing, I think it's $70 or something. Very affordable, and it sounds great. And then, of course, you could step it up to something like this. This is sort of in a new league compared to these. This is...
It's its own category now.
Right, a lot more expensive, but it does a lot more too. So if you really want just a really high-end, a near desktop class listening experience out of a dongle, this does a great job with a few caveats, which we discussed prior.
Yeah. I'd say the Woo probably takes all the best attributes of these and then puts them all in one package.
Right.
Where do they all do one thing maybe better than the other? The Woo does all of them.
Right. I mean, at that price, I guess that's what you hope for, but it seems to have done it. For portable mobile listening, may not be the best candidate due to its size and the nature of the tubes.
Right.
But yeah, for a desktop stationary type thing, or transportable or whatever, hotels or whatever, traveling with it, it's so obviously so small to travel with for a hotel.
Yeah, I'd say probably use it on a laptop. That's probably where a laptop in a hotel room, plug it into the
something
side.
like that, it'll shine.
Yep.
Yeah, really nice sound, and it really has so much more authority than these. You plug it in, you notice it right away.
I also like how small the case it comes in.
Yeah.
The case is only a little bigger than it, so...
I don't know where it is. It was over here somewhere.
Yeah.
Overall, that went pretty well. I'm pretty happy with these units. Maybe you guys have a unit out there that you'd like us to try in a future video. I'd like to do one of these again with a little higher price point.
Yep.
Maybe see how that goes. Maybe try some fancier stuff, right? These are all very affordable, but what happens when you go a little higher? So I don't know. Let us know what you think about that one. Maybe you got a unit that you really like using. You want us to let us know, and maybe we'll try it. But till next time, take care, guys.